If you love spy stories and thrillers, this week's Parsha is your Parsha, not only because of the Parsha itself, but because the Haftorah also has an amazing story. In our Parsha, the story of Moses sending the 12 spies to the land of Israel, including Yehoshua and Caleb, and the Haftorah, the famous story of Yehoshua sending 2 spies into the city of Jericho. They hide in the house of Rachav, then they almost get caught. They escape through the window, and then eventually they make it back. Now, if you take a look at the Parsha itself, Parshat Shlach, you wonder, where did things go wrong? Because when Moshe sends the spies, it seems like they're given pretty clear instructions. They are supposed to find out what kind of land the land is. Hatovayim ra'ah, is it good or is it bad? Hayesh ba'etz imain, is the land with trees or not? Maha'arim, what kind of cities are there? Are they fortified or are they cities that are open? What kind of people are they? And so it seems like the spies are given a lot of freedom in terms of what information they need to come back with. And it seems like that's exactly what they do. They come back to Moshe and they say, listen, make no mistake, this land is Zavat Chalav Udvash. It's what you told us. It's a land flowing with milk and honey. And yet we know that these spies earned eternal condemnation for what they said about the land of Israel. Why? Where did they go wrong? What did these spies say that was so egregious when in fact they were sent to report back kind of like exactly what they said, what kind of land it is, what's going on? And the commentaries struggle with this question. Why did the spies sin? I mean, they were asked literally to find out if the land is a good land or a bad land, what kind of people are living there, what kind of cities are there. So they were given a lot of freedom. I want to take you on a bit of a different direction to answer this by telling you a story about my great uncle who was a spy. My great uncle, Yosef Lishansky, belonged to a group called NILI. This was a secret group of spies established in 1915, and they spied against the Ottoman Empire, the Turks. The Turks were occupying Israel, and the British were about to go to war with the Turks, and there was a group of spies whose code name was NILI. NILI stands for Netzach Yisrael Lo Yeshaker. The eternity of Israel, God himself, Lo Yeshaker, will not lie, and will keep his promise to his people, which is that the land of Israel will come to the Jewish people. And so a few things caused the establishment of this group. Number one, Aaron Aronson was an agronomist who really was an expert in farming and everything related, and he lived in Ottoman Israel at the time. Then the war began, the Second World War began, and the Ottoman Turks started confiscating everything. They started treating the Jews living in the land of Israel terribly. They even expelled, very few people know this, they expelled all the Jews of Tel Aviv to Egypt. They started expelling Jews who had foreign citizenships, which were enemy to the Ottoman Empire at the time, which would include Russian Jews, etc. They really cracked down on people. Now, furthermore, the Yishuv, the people living in Israel at the time, they lived off of donations often that were coming from Europe. And now that there was a war and that many of those European countries were considered enemies to the Turks, all that mailing and money got cut off. So the supply of money to the people who really depended on it for their bread was cut off. But most importantly, Aaron Aronson and Sarah Aronson were in Istanbul, and they learned of what was done to the Armenians, the Armenian genocide. And they saw how the Turks were able to kill between 500,000 and 1 million innocent Armenians like that. They brought the word out to the world, the word about this genocide, and they also realized that it's possible that the Turks will do the same to the Jews in Israel, and they decided they will not let that happen. So they started contacting the British and making extraordinary efforts to give the British accurate information that would lead to a speedy and easy conquest of Israel by the British Empire. Now, this information, we know based on later declassified documents, was extraordinarily valuable. It was something that really led the British to conquer the land of Israel with very, very great ease. According to recent documents, one of the main reasons for the Balfour Declaration was the British reciprocating and paying back Aaron Aronson for his service, for everything the NILI Underground had done for the British, and so it was extremely, extremely impactful. Now, unfortunately, the Turks discovered the NILI Underground. They surrounded Zichron Yaakov, which was where the headquarters were, and they ended up hanging my great uncle Yosef Lishansky, who was hung in Damascus with the words on his lips telling everyone there, guys, it's over. The British are conquering the land of Israel and are going to be in Jerusalem, and we're about to win. And so that is what he did, and that's what the NILI group did. And according to estimates, they saved millions of people just because things went so much more easy, and there was much less bloodshed when the British conquered the land of Israel from the Turks. Now, what was so special about this group? What did they see that others didn't? They saw the potential, number one, for the Turks to commit genocide against the Jewish people. Number two, they saw the possibility that the British can conquer the land easily, and they saw something that wasn't there. How often in your life do you see two people looking at the identical situation and seeing such radically different things? You can have people who are looking at a student, two teachers looking at a student, and one of them is going to say, wow, what an amazing student, this will be the next Einstein, while other says, I don't think there's hope. The tragedy of someone like Zero Mostel, who was a great actor, and he called himself Zero because when he was in school in New York, his teachers told him, you're garnished, you're nothing. So when he went to Hollywood, he said, I'll call myself Zero, and I'll teach them a lesson. The spies that Moses sent, these spies, all they could see was the fact that there were stronger people there in Israel and that they didn't have hope of conquering it. And so they said, Efes ki azam, this is not a people that we can conquer. Yehoshua and Caleb saw Tovah haaretz meod meod, and Yachol nuchal, we can. And so both Yehoshua and the other spies saw the same land, but they ended up with such radically perspectives. One group said we can't do it, the other said yes, we can do it. The NILI group, they looked at the situation with the Turks where others thought things were doomed and there was no hope for a Jewish state, and they said, yes, it's possible. That is the lesson of Parshat Shlach. You can look at the same situation, even report the truth, and still have such radically different perspectives. So may we be blessed to come out of looking at every situation, seeing the benefit, the positive, the kindness, the potential that's in every situation, and succeed in maximizing that. Shabbat Shalom.